Fallout 4 is filled with secrets that you have probably never seen. Some are pretty unique, and others are shown as Easter eggs or storylines that just never came to life. That's why today, I'm going to be looking at some of the biggest secrets. Kicking things off with the first one, our good boy knows Nick Valentine. 1. Dogmeat secrets. I think everyone knows Dogmeat, or at least one of the multiple versions that you can find on every entry of Fallout. New Vegas Rex is kinda not for my taste. He doesn't really have a companion, but is always loyal to whoever chooses to follow, in Mama Murphy words, is his own man. You know, it's almost general culture information, but if you need a reminder, you can meet him on Red Rocket or via Nick Valentine, and he will be your follower from here to the end of the game, if you want. The first detail we can extract from here is that the first time you meet him, he will be simply named as Dog. The only ways of changing the name to the one everyone knows is entering the Museum of Freedom during the quest When Freedom Calls and chatting a bit with Mama Murphy. Another one is to avoid the original meeting on Red Rock and get all the way to the quest Getting a Clue, and Nick Valentine will do the honors, get you the companion, and also you will already know he is called Dogmeat. A really more secret way is avoiding meeting Preston Garvey and roam a while. Eventually our sole survivor can name it that way if dialogue with him and use the positive response. He suggests calling him Dogmeat, and that it. This is the most hidden one, because a great part of the player base will follow the main quest anyway, but a nice touch to get diverse ways of naming him. Maybe in the future we can also get a bit more interactions, or even have him permanently as our dog and not fill the companion slot. He is also the only real ninja in the game, as he has the highest stealth compared to the other companions, also unique as is the only German Shepherd breed that appears in the game. And finally, he can wear almost all the armor and apparel items in the game that cannot be scrapped, making him a customizable character and, in my opinion, looks amazing. Sadly that it took me this long to know that. What if I told you that you can play the old water rocket competition of high school, but now with propane? 2. Rocket science on the cabin. This is one of the classic secrets, so we couldn't leave it outside of the list. It's fun, a bit hidden, and only provides an escape from all the serious quests that you are living for a while. In my book, that is one great way of creating an Easter egg, so let's see where it is, and why I think so highly of it. First of all, this is located on the northeast part of where the relay tower 0BB915 is located. Here lies an unassuming shack that rests on the top of the cliff. A beautiful view, if you let me say it. When you climb here, you can find a fun reward. This is where a crazy or maybe physics PhD wastelander worked on his studies, because all you can find are propane canisters and makeshift launches that are aimed over the Commonwealth. Also, as a note, there is some ammunition behind to get some serious fun if you like the system and the physics of this game. I do. To be honest, that's all. No secret note, some hidden disturbing lore, or a bizarre enemy. My theory is that the devs left this as a reminder of their tests on the physics, or just for mindless fun. Anyway, it works and is a different type of reward. Not everything has to be an item or lore. So we already are on the topic, so why not continue showing some secrets that maybe not everyone had the luck of founding? 3. The Titanic reference. This one can be a bit hidden since is locked away on Far Harbor. A paid DLC launched a while after the original game. Now is highly common that you buy the full edition that already has everything. But if you were one of the people that played it at launch and never come back, this will be new for you. If you are exploring the new zone, you will spot a ton of different zones that worth looking. One of them is the Nucleus shipwreck. You enter this ruins and can see a floating door with 2 skeletons, one lying on the top and the other is submerged with a bit of the body outside. You can already think of the reference that this situation is representing. So now tell me, do you believe that both could have gotten on the door or not? That is what we commonly think as we continue exploring the giant and never boring wasteland. 4. The third kind weapon. Let's be honest here, it's not a new encounter with the series. This is more a tribute to the original, and has become a sort of meta Easter egg. With that on the side, that doesn't make it any less of great. The zone is awesome, the weapon is useful, and the enemy is cool. We are talking about the UFO crash site. In this encounter, we will actually see the event evolve. You have 2 ways of activating the UFO. It always crashes on the same location. The first one is after you grind, or by natural progression to level 20. A different random encounter is unlocked. At some point in our adventures, we will hear a sound provided by the sky. You cannot actually see it fly. As mere moments after the sound happens, the vessel will pass quickly by overhead before actually crashing on the designated zone. It's possible to lose the encounter as it's hard to be doing nothing around the wasteland. Maybe you're fighting your way into a raider's den or talking with someone, but when it happens, will leave a very particular trail of smoke, and the actual sound of the explosion when crashes down is pretty hard to miss. Alternatively, if you activate the relay tower with the code 1DL109, a signal of radio will be titled Garbled Radio Beacon. Will appear on the Pip-Boy. If you tune the radio to its frequency, you will be getting better quality as you travel near, ultimately finding the crashed alien vessel. Whatever the method, when you reach the vessel, a half-buried UFO will be in a hillside. Around you will find destruction and more destruction with broken trees, a flattened ground, flames everywhere, and as a curiosity, in this place the flames never disappear, effectively marking the spot for posterior travels here. Sadly, we cannot go inside the UFO or can scavenge anything around it. The good news are that a trail of green blood can be found. If you follow it, you will go north and down a ravine to a nearby cave unmarked on the map. If you decide to enter, an alien will meet you with some fresh violence. As he automatically starts attacking you, there's no way to calm him down or get near him without killing him. Also, the VATS will get a right leg crippled message, consequence of the crash. Easy work, to be honest. After that little nuisance, you can get an alien blaster pistol and 295 to 500 alien blaster rounds. Yes, it is RNG. Additionally, next to the alien is a human skeleton. What happened here? We will never know, and also a ham radio that is the source of the nearby garbled radio beacon. This will mean something if you came this way following the signal. Turning off the ham radio will disable the beacon, so mission complete. Some curiosities additional to the main event are also interesting. For example, the most far away that you can see the actual crash is the Museum of Witchcraft. The trail of debris at the crash site shows the path to the northwest, but you can see this smoke from anywhere, making it an inconsistency in favor of the player. If you visit the crash site before the crash, you can see some things like some trees already burned, a lot of mole rats, and a skeleton crushed by a fallen tree. Also, after the crash, the green blood trail will disappear after you kill the alien and get his things. Now, I know Fallout 4 has some crazy weapons, but I am more of a cowboy. So finding this treasure was automatically finding the main weapon of my posterior runs. Want to know where? 5. The Gainer. This is a secret location challenge weapon that is located just south of the Hub City Auto Wreckers and to the east of Finch Farm. To be fair, it is pretty easy to get here just by chance. Anyway, this is a location with a higher probability of getting here by pure luck. It's hidden, yes, but near some important locations, so it's much more probable to get here than other zones that we already see on this video. We are looking for a pump house. Its entrance is between a small corridor and has 2 rooms, one locked behind a code. If you already know the password, it's kinda easy, but has a bit of a trick. Looking for clues in the room will rapidly get you to look at the south wall of the room, one with a code written, 0451, but that is not it. Why do you ask? Well, because a bit higher is a 1 written, so your most plausible option is 10 to 451, and that's it. Entering that code will get you in the second room. Here lies a red skeleton, and to the left, the reason we are here, the Gainer, a unique .44 pistol, or more known as a Magnum. The special characteristic is his bullets. The revolver has the incendiary legendary effect, and also comes fully equipped with a bull barrel, a comfort grip, a standard receiver, and last, a reflex sight. Outside of the weapon, we have a reference to Looking Glass Studios, the devs of System Shock, as the first code you see, 0451, is a number used many times. And also a nod to a lead-level designer friend that has a love for a nasty-ass video game Magnum. Also, the red skeleton is a reference to Hideo Kojima game, Snatcher, making this effectively an Easter egg into an Easter egg. To change to another topic, now let's see one of the most disturbing places in Fallout 4. Yeah, I know the game isn't exactly lacking in this type of place, but trust me, everyone has its own charm. 6. The Milton Parking Garage. Disturbing zones are the cup and tea of the unmarked locations. The one we are tackling today is located on the central section of the map near the Fallon's department store, a bit to the west across from Milton General Hospital. This is a 5-story building that, like the name says, is a garage. To enter this place, you have 3 options, kinda, as 2 of them are initially barred and you have to get to them from the inside to unbarrel them. For the initial option, there is a red door that is accessible only from the first floor, and oh boy, what we have here. Radroaches are the first ones to welcome us. The main hallway leads to a room with several mannequins, the north to radioactive barrels and basically a dead end. To the east, and the correct way, 3 red buttons and 4 jail cells. Yeah, I understand. This makes absolutely no sense. Clicking the buttons gets you in, and continuing we'll get to see clapping cymbal monkeys. This is creeping me out a lot. Continuing, there is a ramp to the second floor. These few steps are an introduction to whatever happened, so take it as a training. To the second floor we go. We are met with tripwires and some abandoned trucks, normal to this point, but this floor is heavily trapped with diverse weaponry. Mostly tripwires, obviously, but some other crazy things like a mounted laser gun and gasoline with automatic ignition. In the middle of all that, we can find a lot of dead settlers and traders. They died of their their own traps or something more sinister? This creeps me up, but as we continue, we will eventually find the ramp to the 3rd floor, and here we go. Let's be honest here, you are a bit nervous as the first 2 floors put the bar a bit higher in sinister vibes, but as you ascend to the 3rd floor, all you will find will be feral ghouls that can jump scare you in a maze, so not much to work with. So after a while, you find the ramp and to the 4th floor. The tripwires are back on this floor, and for some reason, a lot, and I mean it, a lot of bathroom scales. Just why? Also, this floor is even more guarded than the 2nd ceiling-mounted Tesla traps. Shotgun traps behind doors, and don't forget the tripwires. They were on discount recently or what? Besides the creepy atmosphere and all the traps, we can get some good loot. And in a near bedroom, a workbench for whatever reason. Also opening the first cell will surprise you with a flamethrower trap. Cool, right? After all, we eventually find our way to a barren door. Don't forget to unbarrel the door leading outside and then run to the rooftop. Here we have a lot of derelict vehicles, one lone wanderer motorcycle, and several loot inside stations wagons. Yeah, I don't know how they aren't on the very button of the building with the nukes. After exploring the rooftop, you will find an exit via the makeshift set of wooden stairs that will lead you down to a door of the 2nd floor of the Milton General Hospital. Besides the actual vibes, this is actually a good place to farm components while you disarm the traps along the way. Also, if you fast travel to this location, there is a secret percent that 3 super mutant suiciders will be there to surprise you. I don't know about you, but this is a giant location with some serious sinister vibes, as we don't really know what happened here or who set up all the traps if the settlers were dead on the 2nd floor. Also, as you already know, a set of wooden stairs is found on the rooftop. That wasn't there originally. So the question remains, who did this and why? We explored a building full of creepy things. So what do you say if I said that you could go to a pre-war submarine? Interesting, right? 7. The submarine Yangtze. When you are walking around the Boston Harbor, it's lodged in the shallow waters. And to be honest, it's pretty hard to miss it. For more details of the ubication, Boston Harbor is just south of the airport and northeast of the fish packing plant 4's. It's not marked on the map, but is part of a side quest. You can begin it in 2 ways, talking with a particular person on the Shamrock Tap House, or swimming to the submarine yourself. The most interesting part of this discovery is that the submarine is part of the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy, a nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, cool and scary at the same time. Before the Great War, the Yangtze, this submarine, had a war payload consisting of 6 warheads and an unknown number of nuclear missiles and torpedoes. As for the story of the submarine, the Captain Zhao obeyed his orders to fire the nuclear weapons at the targets. Only 1 missile was left behind by malfunction. At the time of launchment, the Yangtze hit a mine that severely damaged her reactor. So they got trapped on it, the reactor started to leak, and finally killed, and in some other cases ghoulified the crew. As a matter of fact, only Zhao retained his sanity. You can explore the submarine and find a fair number of things that are interesting. For example, you can go and see the reactor control room, the 3 propellers, and the rear of the submarine. North of the reactor room, you can find 2 decontamination showers, and a terminal locked behind an expert-level lock. After it, you find a stairway to the lower sea. Overall, the most interesting things that you can find are the dead crew and the ghoulified crew too. For the specifics, 30 former crew members are to be found across the sub, live and dead. Some are simple skeletons, and others are feral ghouls. The sole survivor can choose to put the warhead to use and destroy it with you inside. You can escape, but the explosion radius will always catch up to you. Now you explore the submarine and reach Captain Zhao. Now we can talk about him and the secret choices you can make. 8. Captain Zhao and its cut roll. After all the journey of the submarine to get to him, here we are. When you start talking with him, he reminisces his experiences. He recalls firing his ship's nuclear cargo on October 23, 2077. So that indicates that he was the responsible for the Boston explosions. Right now is a curious moment for Fallout history. As you already know, the Chinese are mentioned, and some robots even appear here. But actually meeting the responsible in flesh and blood is an experience that, in my opinion, deserved its own mainline quest. But I take what I got too. Works fine as a secret too. He also shows a bit of humanity as he talks about the shame when he saw the ruined city. Also, we learn about what I already explained of the mine and the submarine, but learn new details. For example, the radiation leaking from the reactor damaged in the explosion was responsible for eventually turning the captain and the crew into ghouls. When he made it to the port and saw the ruins that he created, he didn't want to leave the ship as he wanted to maintain the stealth. The direct chaos also helped. Now advancing the time, he explains that had lived 2 centuries based on scavenging what he could from the city and fighting the casual raider here and there. His ultimate goal is to return to China after gathering enough intelligence and information that in some way could help rebuild its home. On the side, has developed an immense amount of guilt and regret for all the lives and destruction he caused. Still, he's reluctant to leave his vessel undefended to try and find components to repair it, so basically he reached an impasse. I know he sounds hypocritical, but that exactly is why is a likable character depending how you see it. After all, the only companions Zhao had during the last 210 years were dead and transformed crewmates, so in some way, he actually paid a big price too, as he couldn't bring herself to put the ones that turned out of their misery. After all, he still holds the traditional values of the old world, like considering the American as a joke of liberation. He actually refers to us as capitalist and American. If you play your cards right, he can accept the help of the one that could have been his greatest enemy in another time. This puts another quest on your log, and that is a story for another day, but basically you help him find the resources needed to repair the submarine. If you bartered a higher reward or not show animosity through the negotiation, you will have zero trouble getting to this point. Now, this quest has a great repercussion because the players are basically helping who blow everything in your city and change your life forever. For that, the devs also showed us the path of simply killing him, and that's done. Not recommended, but good to have. The rewards for helping him are worth leaving your probable hate behind. If you can achieve this, that will net you some good rewards actually. One of them is pretty unique, as you can get 3 homing beacons for a tactical nuclear strike. Cool, but not very smart to use it. Also, his sword, but only if you pass 3 charisma checks while talking to him. As a curious aftermath of the quest, if you hear the Diamond City radio, some reports mention that a Chinese submarine was seen leaving the harbor. In lore, they actually leave, or I think so, but in terms of gameplay, the submarine stays where it was originally all the game. Another secret side note is that Zhao, for being a hidden side quest, is very much a really crafted character with a variety of dialogues, interesting lore, and a grim context that makes him likable in certain ways. But why all the trouble of making him like that, just for a few hours of even less than one of seeing him? Well, he is part of a section of cut content before the launch of the game, as he was originally designed to be a bigger part of the story. He would get its own quest on an epic location while maintaining a larger role through the whole game, and the player could have the possibility of riding the submarine to a deep sea vault and be there for the final confrontation of that quest. 2 awesome ideas, a deep sea vault and the help of a fellow Chinese, and of all the Chinese, the one and only that blew your home. Very high loss that it was cut of the original run. I only hope that this idea isn't scrapped in a future sequel or even a remake. Now, after ending with such a sad tone, how about having your own island and even a settlement? Would that improve your mood? 9. Spectacle Island. Paradise on the Wasteland. This is a secret location in the middle of the sea, hard to discover and even harder to reach. But where is it? Located near Warwick Homestead near the coast on the southeast, it was once a home for a millionaire living the dream of having his own private island paradise. So obviously he built a mansion. This doesn't end here. The original settlers actually put some effort and constructed a settlement with a sonar pulse beacon that could kill, or at least repel, the Mirelurks. Sadly, as we know when we get there, the settlers are long dead or gone. We only find that someone, probably raiders, disabled the pulse beacon, so the Mirelurks soon invaded the area. For us to reach that faraway location, we have to actually put some work. For starters, we have to go to all the way along the seabed and more preferable inside a power armor, eat some Mirelurk cake, or have the Aquaman perk for the swim to be more comfortable, or at least you ensure survival. Then walk all the way on the southern tip. It takes a while, and if you're not prepared enough, can drown or die by radiation, but trust me, it's worth it. When you're there, start searching for some power cables across the island. Those lead you to circuit breakers. This way you can unlock the settlement option to use on this island. After a while, when you find the circuit breaker aboard the near ship, not on the submerged one, then a large fight will be unleashed as the screen will shake, and a Mirelurk queen and several normal Mirelurks will emerge. The fight for the land is on. When you win, you have to return to the radio tower and flip the final circuit breaker. This will turn on the solar pulse, effectively killing all the Mirelurks on the zone. Yeah, that is right. Even the queen will automatically die, but that would mean that you ran away. Come on, don't tell me you didn't win the fight. After a few seconds, you finish the secret quest and get your own secure and free of Mirelurks Island. Congratulations. Also, as a plus, if you didn't find it before, there's actually some good loot around, and now is easy to find him, like 2 Nuka-Cola Quantums on the underwater wrecked house, or a fat man on the sunken green boat on the southern tip of the Islam. This island doesn't have any secret notes or terminals, leaving us with a sinister story. But in exchange, we get this cool settlement, private island if you want. A fine reward if I've ever seen one. And those were only 9 of all the cool and awesome secrets this game has. If you want to see every vault experiment on Fallout, click on the video on the screen.